Yeah, we're soul sisters. Together we gon' make sure that you know Jesus. Right now could be your breakthrough. Just come join with us. 'Cause the Spirit might just make you yell out, Lord Jesus. Right here on the Godly View.
Hey, how y'all doing? Welcome to the Godly View. I am one of your co-hosts, Persephone Sonia, aka Pastor Greer. I'm a gospel songwriter and producer, and I do graphic design and video editing and a whole bunch of other stuff. But my two most important roles are wife to the Clifford William Greer II and mother to Alonzo Eugene Greer, aka Gene on the scene, y'all's nephew. We are just so excited to be here this evening. We are celebrating Women's History Month, and we are celebrating some special women in our lives, women that are in the public eye, women that are in our private lives, women that inspire us. And I'm going to go ahead and pass things over to my sis Daisy.
Hey. I know I haven't been here in a while. God has me on lock, y'all. But I'm here tonight with my ladies. Hey, sis, I miss y'all so much. I miss the show. I miss the Golly View family. But my name is Dacia. Many may know me as Daisy. I am, as it says, your health and wellness influencer, founder of The Infusion, as well as it's a women's empowerment group called Fit, Saved, and Slaying nonprofit organization as well. I am just here to uplift, empower, and shed light on various different topics with my Godly View sisters to help the community, the believers, the gospel. I'm here to be a sheep and a vessel to the kingdom of God and to be his servant wholeheartedly. So that's why I'm here today. And I'm going to hand it over to my sis Jess.
Hello, everyone. It's Jessica Rogers, your neighborhood therapist. Glad to be here on another day, another show. As she said, tonight we're honoring women in history. As I look around me, I see a lot of history being made, and history that has helped make new history. But as I said, I'm your neighborhood therapist. I'm out of Bowling Green, Kentucky. I am a licensed clinical mental health therapist. Associate. And again, I look forward to always having good conversations, hoping to spread some awareness, bring something new to the people, and also hoping to help people walk away with something that makes their day or their week a little bit better than it was before.
All right. That sounds good to me. Yes. Women's history is so important because there are a lot of historical events that happen where there are women in behind the scenes supporting, and they're often overlooked. And I think this is a very important episode, and I'm just so grateful to be here with my sisters. Y'all are a part of women's history. Y'all are a part of my history, and I couldn't be more blessed. I love each and every one of you for the things that you bring to this platform. Each of you are so unique and so beautiful and so strong and so powerful and so anointed, and it is an honor to be a part of this family. Y'all know we're family. The viewers are family. The co-hosts, we're family. Our producer, it's a beautiful organization, family, show, ministry, all of that to be a part of. So today we are honoring some specific people, specific women in our lives that have brought us joy, that have helped us, whether they know it or not, women that have inspired us. And I'm going to go ahead and start it off with someone that, and it was funny because I talked to her a few days ago and she's going to be like, you didn't tell me. It was a surprise. I knew I was going to honor you. You didn't know. My sister, Melissa Felton, most people know her affectionately as Missy. That lady, she has no idea what she has done for my life. And I try to make sure I tell her, but words really can't convey fully. And I had to write it down because, I get to talking and honoring and I get to crying. Then look at my sister. That's my sister. So I'm going to make sure that I, read what I wrote. Okay. Because it's organized the way I want to say it. Okay. Melissa Felton, aka Missy, is Brevard County, Florida native. She's a licensed hairstylist and a gifted gospel singer / songwriter. Our families have been intertwined for decades. My Nana and her mom were good friends, which led Missy and my mother to play together as children. Years later, I ended up going to middle school with her youngest sibling, Ebony. Missy and I became more closely acquainted when she began doing my hair in 2009. In the beginning of 2010, we began doing music together. We've been close friends / sisters ever since. Missy has been a wonderful big sister to me. Let me say that again. Missy has been a wonderful big sister to me. There were many experiences that I had and places I was able to go because of my relationship with her. Whenever something comes up that she feels I'd be a good fit for, she always calls to get me involved. There's never been competition between us because we know that a win for one is a win for both. We've seen each other in some of our highest moments and the lowest. Through it all, our love for Christ and love for each other has continued to strengthen our relationship. She is a devoted mother. Cliff and I are the godparents to her youngest daughter, Rashonda, whom we love very much. Missy has the innate ability to write songs with such universal and spiritual appeal. Anybody can relate to her music. She truly lives what she preaches. Let me say that again. She truly lives what she preaches. What she sings about is what she lives. And that's one of the reasons why I respect her so much. I'm blessed to call her my sister, fellow woman of God, and fellow musician. I love you so much, sis. And may you always feel as beautiful and as honored and as loved as you are. Look at my sister. All right, I'm gonna turn it on over to my sister.
In our honoring, I just have a quick question. Are we asking like questions in between, or we're just gonna go right into our honoring?
You know what? Let's flow. Let's do what we feel. We got time. We got cushion.
Okay.
So let's flow. Let's flow with it.
The host with the most. Okay.
Let's flow with it. Let's talk.
All right. So you want me to take it, sis? All right.
Yeah.
Y'all don't mind me. I just put a ginger candy in my mouth because, I'm Jamaican and stuff.
I love ginger.
This is from the Jamaican market. All right. So I'm honoring today Natasha Cobbs Leonard. So I found out that her name is Natasha Cobbs Leonard. Who would have known it was Natasha, not Tasha, right? So Miss Natasha Cobb Leonard is 41 years old. She's a singer, preacher, and an intercessor. Growing up in Jesup, Georgia, she began her career leading worship at Jesup New Life Ministry, the church where her father founded, which is Bishop Fritz Cobbs. Tasha battled mental illness and severe depression. She would minister and then she would go home feeling broken, lost, and hurt, to where it was impossible some days to get out of bed. She figured out what her problem or what may have been wrong. She sought help by getting therapy. She also struggled with infertility and IVF, but she didn't allow that to stop her from starting a family, as she desired to have a child. Her and her husband, Kenneth, expanded their family via adoption. I've been so blessed by her music in so many ways. It spoke to my life. It spoke through me in so many battles, in so many struggles throughout my life journey as being a Christian on my walk. In my darkest times and my darkest seasons, her songs would speak to my spirit, would speak to my soul, and as a result, it would then bring me and pull me out of the dark, also with God leading me through there. I want to highlight a few of her songs that ministered to me in my time of battle. Gracefully Broken, This is Freedom, Put a Praise on It, Fill Me Up, God Waited on Me. Overall, she is powerful, anointed, and without a doubt, such an inspiration to the gospel. And I honor Miss Natasha Cobbs.
Yes, I love her as well. She's definitely one of my favorite gospel artists. All right, we're
Yeah.
gonna kick things over to just unless Daisy, did you have anything else you wanted to add? Okay. All right, we're gonna pass things over to Jessica. Hey.
Hello. All right, y'all. So the person that I had chosen to honor, I actually had the I just lost the word. I was actually able to meet her through going to Western. So we are Hilltoppers. And there's a lot of Hilltoppers doing a lot of great things. And this is Karita Cole. You can find her on all platforms as Karita Cole. So a little bit about Karita. She was born on July 7th. She is out of Jackson, Tennessee. And actually, one of the other things I remember about her, we have our student center. It's called Duck. Well, now it's called DSU, but it was Duck for all the old heads who was there from like 05 to like 2010, and a little bit before that. But I would always remember her. Karita is actually a former WKU defending Sun Belt champion as well. She ran track. And so I would always remember her walking through Duck, and she would always have the ice taped on her thighs after workout and stuff like that. But I also remember that she always had a very peaceful spirit about her, and that she was always up. She always had a look of uplifting. And so like again, like I want to honor her. She's out of Jackson, Tennessee. She has a challenge. It's called the Bless Challenge. She's a great dancer. She also she raps, she produces, and she writes, and she dances. So this is Karita Cole again. Find her on all platforms. She's a WKU student. That's why I chose to honor her, because again, I was able to come in contact with her through that experience, and so we share that together. But yeah.
Awesome. We love it. And feel free to, for the ladies that you're honoring, feel free to add any information, any links or anything in the chat. I added my sister single Pretty Girls Pray. And went ahead and blessed y'all with the Apple link, the Apple Music link. Get your life. If you're a pretty girl, you might as well go ahead and get the single and get your life. And also, today is a special day. It's actually the birthday of my godmother, Benita Caldwell. She's no longer with us, but I honor her because her legacy lives on in her daughter Nakia, my god sister, my god brother Caleb, and all of her godchildren. She had many godchildren, many people that she poured into during her life. And I'm actually wearing one of her bracelets. Nakia gave me a couple of her bracelets, and I wore this on my wedding day. I wore this for my maternity shoot with Cliff. I had it with me the day that Alonzo was dedicated back to the Lord. This is a very special piece of jewelry because it reminds me of her, and I chose to wear it today to honor her birthday. And also Missy's birthday is April 18th. So we got a lot of celebrating going on, and it's beautiful. I want to ask you, either one of you can answer in any order you want to. What does women's history mean to you? And what does women's history mean to you in context to our faith? How do you feel about that, Daisy? I know I'm just jumping in with questions.
I know. Okay, the first one is, what does woman history means to me? History. So history in itself is an impact, something that carries over to generation to generation. It's not just a now thing. So that's history. Woman history is combining those two. Women who not just talk the talk, but walk the walk, who can say what they're going to do and walk that completely through, powerhousing it. Um, like many people say now, a mother or a woman is gonna get the job done no matter what she has to do. And for me, when I hear that, I think of woman history, because the odds are always against us, that a woman can't do certain things, or a woman can't preach, or a woman can't be a firefighter, a woman can't be a police officer. To this day, history is speaking for itself, because we have firefighters that are women, we have officers that are women, we have preachers that are preaching down the church, going to corners, preaching that down, ministering in prison. So that's what I think of when I hear the word woman history. One that stands out, that makes a mark, and her name just carries on for legacy, and that is just celebrated with honor, with humility, with a humble presence. So that's what I think of when I think of woman history. And what was the second part?
And in relation to our faith, what
Okay.
do you feel the impact is of women in ministry?
I think I kind of spoke of that too, like to sum it up.
You
But
did.
I did. I kind of answered both in one thing. But I will just add in addition that how it relates to in our faith is nothing is impossible. And when we speak on terms of the woman that we highlighted, every single one of them, they set the vision, they wrote it, and they carried it out. In order to carry out any vision for each individual we highlighted, in order for them to be where they are to where we're highlighting them, they had to honor first the walk, and they have to have faith. And so I believe in all that you do, and with honoring the people that we honored, and so many other, how it relates to our faith and the Christian walk is, you've got to have a solid foundation in God first and foremost, and you have to have faith, even when it looks impossible. They're still going and not allowing the naysayers or what the odds that may come against them as being women in the gospel to get in the way, or to stop them from prevailing of what God has called them to do. So ultimately, they're rising, they're shining, they're setting the limits. They're not setting limits, but they're setting the bar. And it's so many other that's going to follow behind them, because they're paving the way for a time as such. And that's my answer.
Yes, absolutely. 100% agree. Jessica, what is women's history mean to you in general, and then in context to our faith? Because it's an onion, it's multiple layers. But what does that mean to you?
So I will, add on to what Daisy said, because I think she gave a really good foundation just for what women in history, in history together really is. But I also say, and adding to that, about women taking up space, so that either you're taking up space so you can allow other women in the door so that they can have a chance to make history as well. And also holding space for women that are trying to come up, who people may not want to give them a chance, or people that overlook them, because I think that we hear about the monumental names, but there are so many people on the ground doing the grassroots work that you don't hear about, but they are no less part of the history than the people that have the universal name. So that's what I think of too. It's just kind of down to those women who are you hear about, down to the ones that you don't hear about. but also I think of sacrifice, because to make history, you're oftentimes having to sacrifice a great deal. And so to me, that's also women's history. As far as women in history and faith going along, I think about, of course, all the women of the Bible who paved the way for women of us today. What they what they would say. I'm just kind of paraphrasing, kind of in vernacular. If you want the job done, you send your woman, right? She paved the way, because women, we are one who like to fellowship. We are one who like to speak and gather and things like that. So I think women in faith, it is, we're multifaceted, and how we carry things out. We are able to speak to the masses of how we need to, and with the gentleness or the firmness of how we need to. So that's how I see women in faith, is very adaptable women who get in there and say, hey, this is the time that we need to be tough, this is the time that we need to be soft, and again, just kind of like holding space in both of those areas, holding space for the people that are trying to come up behind them, or trying to do the work with them.
Amen. Y'all both had such beautiful, poignant things to say. The things that stuck out the most was the legacy, sacrifice, holding space. Those things are so important. And I'll add to that, as well as when I was honoring my sister Missy, I'm talking about not having any competition. When Missy and I first started hanging out and doing music together, I was extremely timid. I mean, almost to the point where I wouldn't really sing in front of people at all. I remember meeting with her at her parents' house to have our first like music meeting and to kind of vibe with each other. And I remember having to I was like, well, my throat sometimes. I was like, and we laugh about that to this day. I was so shy. And that could have been the moment where she could have said, "Oh, this is somebody I can have under my thumb. This is somebody that I know she won't step out too much, so I can outshine her, or I can, usurp authority over her, make her feel some type of way." And she did the complete opposite. I learned how to harmonize from her. I learned how to, take up space, and she was one of those ones, especially musically, that really did that for me. And she never judged me. I was extremely sheltered, and I was able to come out of my shell because she didn't see me as competition. She saw me as a partner in the faith, a partner in the work that we were doing as gospel songwriters and producers and artists and everything. And I so appreciate her for that, because there were so many times in my life where that didn't happen, and she did it effortlessly. This is just who she is. And she's one of my closest friends, one of my closest sisters, and one of those ones that will celebrate with you and cry with you and pray with you. And I can't say enough about her. And when y'all were talking about what women's history means to you, she's that. And that's why I chose to honor her. And she's been through so much. She has not had an easy life. She's not had an easy go at it, but she has never quit. She will cry, she'll vent, but then she'll get on up and get it done. And I just, Missy, girl, I love you so much. And I also want to mention my mother, Tara Hudson. She is also a Brevard County native. She's currently in Cocoa. And one of the things that I love the most about my childhood, even though I will tell anybody my childhood was not the best, but one thing that I really appreciate my mother doing for me is exposing me to educational outlets. She had me watching PBS. She had me watching, National Geographic specials and, all these different things. And I learned so many things watching her. And she, I remember us collecting the encyclopedias, but we didn't we didn't get very far down the alphabet because we didn't have much money. I think we made it to H. We didn't get that far, but the encyclopedias we did have, we read them, okay? And she was someone that whenever we had the Scholastic Book Fair at school, I always, was able to purchase, a good amount of books. And now having my own child and exposing him to different educational outlets, it's like, wow, like I really appreciate her doing that for me and not just saying, oh, she's a kid, she'll figure it out. But no, she exposed me to British comedy. She exposed me to, all these different specials about, different countries and things that I would not have been exposed to naturally. She allowed me to be exposed to those things through television and books. So thank you, Mommy. I appreciate you and I love you. And you are a part of my women's history. So thank you.
I just wanted to ask you, because you tapped into my question for you ladies. I'm not a mommy yet. Okay. I'm just a dog mom, but you guys actually carried Superwoman, woman of history. Y'all actually carried babies and birthed these beautiful humans into this earth. So I want to ask you too, what changed you from how you were before becoming a mom to now being a mother? How was that transition, and what's the difference in what you see yourself now as a mother? James,
Jessica, you want to answer? You want to answer first?
Yeah, I'll go. So mine was a little bit longer ago than Pastor Seth. So I will say I had my daughter at 21. So that was a very pivotal age for me in general. Like I was pregnant. No, I didn't. I had her in the age of 21, but I was not pregnant with her at 21. So, but anywho, so for me, I would say it was hard. It was a struggle mentally for me to transition, because I still, when all your friends are still able to go do what they want to do, and you have to take care of your child, you feel alone, you feel like nobody, you feel isolated, because nobody, they understand, but they don't really understand. Nobody shamed me or anything like that, but it was a transition. But I always had the mindset of, this is my daughter, I have to take care of her. That never wavered. So even though I wasn't ready to be a parent per se, my mindset was of, this is your responsibility. And even though you may not know everything, my grandparents, I'm thankful for the support system that I had. My grandmother, my mom, they all instilled great things in me as a person to help me to understand that even if you don't know what you're doing as just a parent, as that role, like they gave me a foundation that I'm so thankful for, because even if I didn't know what I was doing, I knew how to make a way. Let's put it that way. And so I could lean on them for support. But my mind never wavered of that. This is my child. I have to make sure she has the best future I can give her, because she deserves that. She will not pay for my mistake. So that was always my mindset. But I will say that it's just the youngness of me, the flesh of me struggled with the knowing that I was going to have to miss out on a lot of things. But my mindset was also, I have goals and I am going to achieve them. It might take me a little bit longer, but I am going to achieve them. I never stopped having my goals. And I think that's what I hope women, even younger women, remember, is that you don't have to stop having your goals. Even if you don't have the support, it may be harder or things like that. But those were my two mind frames that never wavered. This is my responsibility, and she will succeed because she's going to see me succeed. So
Thank you for sharing that. That's what when I spoke about earlier, and I made that comment that a mother is always going to provide and make a way regardless. And though you had her at such a young age, that's history. You didn't allow that to stop. And so your history, and then it's going to pass on to her, and then she's going to pass it on to her, her child. And yeah, I just almost brought tears to my eyes. Jessica, don't be doing that. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Go ahead, Pastor.
Yes, I absolutely love what Jessica said. Wow. Like I just because I'm just kind of sitting here too, like, wow, that was really beautiful, Jess. For me, motherhood, child, listen, having my first child at 36 was not my plan. And I'm laughing because what my plan was, I was going to be married by 19, start having children by 21, and be done having children by 30. I didn't meet my husband until I was 34 and didn't have Alonzo until a few months after I turned 36. So even the process of getting pregnant, going through our fertility journey, suffering from PCOS, and then going to the fertility doctor, being treated, getting pregnant. The pregnancy, once you get pregnant, you don't know how it's going to go. You don't know. It's a roller coaster that you're on blindfolded. You don't know which way it's going to go. And you don't know how long certain things are going to last. And pregnancy was such an out of body experience for me. And it's like, I love how they say, of course, all the pain and things that a woman goes through, it all goes away when she sees that baby, and I agree, because I didn't realize how much I suffered during my pregnancy, especially like the last few months. I suffered from preeclampsia. My asthma got worse. I had trouble breathing, trouble walking. Everything was a struggle. Everything. But every time I felt Alonzo kick, every time I felt him move, it made me feel like I could do this another day. I can do this another day. I can do this another day. And even with his birth, that was out of our control. I ended up having an emergency C-section. I went from, okay, we're going to induce him a week earlier than his due date, to, no, we're going to keep you in the hospital over the weekend and we're going to induce you in a few days, to, you're having the baby today. And it like my brain was like, oh my God. It's like, you think you're ready. And even with wanting to get pregnant, trying to get pregnant, and going through the process to get pregnant, once I got pregnant, and once it got to that point of, okay, the baby's going to be here in 2 months. Okay, the baby's going to be here in 4 weeks. The baby's going to be here. Okay, they're going to induce me a week early. Okay, they're going to induce me this weekend. Okay, I'm having a C-section today. It was just crazy. And then, of course, bringing him home from the hospital. Cliff and I are two grown people, 35 and 36 years old, grown and strong. But that baby brought us to our knees. Woo! My son, he is something else, okay? And I'm not just saying that because I'm his mama. He is something else. He is a force to be reckoned with, okay? He turned our lives upside down in the best way. The thing that motherhood has taught me the most is how to let go. How to let go and truly let God lead you. And then having to deal with postpartum depression, that sucked. Because I'm like, wait a minute. I waited all this time to become a mother, worked as hard as we did to conceive, go through this pregnancy, have this birth experience. And then on top of that, now dealing with postpartum depression, now I'm feeling like overwhelmed and feel like, well, maybe I can't do this, and maybe I'm not good enough. And, my husband, Cliff took the fatherhood like a duck to water, right? Because of my C-section, I had to recuperate from that. Even more so than, of course, natural birth. All births take recovery time, but for the first 3 weeks of Alonzo's life, Cliff did like 90% of his care. All I did was pump and take medicine and sleep and, and rest and recover. And I felt almost like, is Alonzo gonna like me? Does he feel like I'm enough for him? But then the Lord allowed me to come through it. I took medication for a while. I'm back in therapy, and I feel better because I was able to let go of what my idea of everything was supposed to be. And the ability to let go is so underrated. So that's what motherhood really did for me, because I was so rigid in certain things because I had so little control over my life in the past. And it was something that God shared with me a couple of weeks ago that I shared during the Sheer Truth. God said to me, people don't want to be happy. I was like, what do you mean people don't want to be happy? He said, people don't want to be happy. They want to be in control. They want to be in control. And you don't have to be in control to be happy. And being in control doesn't necessarily make you happy. So it took all of that long time for God to tell me that. And I'm in the shower just minding my business. I'm like, Lord, can I bathe without you being all in my business? But it was important for him. If he had told me that a year ago, I wouldn't have caught it. I got it when he told me because of motherhood. So.
Wow. Y'all just got me all emotional and stuff. It's funny because, Pastor, I said to God earlier today, I was like, why do you always talk to me in the shower? I was like, why do you always talk to me in the shower? But I said, God, and whatever place or way that you feel I'm vulnerable enough to respond to you, have your way. And I think that's the place where we're more just not covering and we're open. And it never fails. But that, when I look at your story, Pastor, and the transition from even meeting Cliff and then the baby coming, the marriage and all of that, it is so inspiring, because I know there was a time personally that it was very difficult. You didn't speak on that right now, but it was very difficult getting pregnant. And you are even told that you may not have been able to get pregnant, correct? And so just to see how far your story has come is history in itself. It will continue to be history, because now you can be a testimony to God and what he does in the spiritual realm of history. And so I am just so humbled to be amongst you, strong, independent, amazing woman, my godly deep sisters. And I'm not gonna cry. My first day back. Y'all not gonna have me tearing up. But I had to, because I watched for a while, both you guys, even with Jessica, how she's grown and doing it on her own. And I had the privilege of meeting her amazing daughter. Let me tell you, I love her. I love that girl. I kept telling her, I was like, girl, I love you. Give me a hug when they were leaving and stuff like that, because she's so mature. And with seeing her in person, I can see how much of a great job Jessica even did with even having her at 21. I wouldn't have known that had you not tell me. So never water that down. Tell that story when you tell it again with your head held high. Grace yourself, glorify yourself, because you did an amazing job. That young lady is well mannered and she's so respectful. She's so mature. And she's what, 13? 11 or
she just turned 15. Yeah.
Listen, she was like helping us with certain things, and just how she was in the background taking a picture, just her posture. So you did an amazing job. Pastor, you are doing an amazing job. Lonzo love you. He gonna give you a run for your money, because you gave him a run for your money, for his money. When you were carrying him, we saw them videos, girl, telling on him and stuff like that. He's getting you back. Okay. He is getting you back. Go, Lonzo. Keep getting on her, okay? But I love y'all, and thank you for sharing. Thank you for being moms and just making history.
I want to share, this is on my heart, that I know it's kind of, I guess it's more heavy, but you know, as Black women having babies, it's higher rate for us to have something go wrong and the doctors not catch it. So please, if something's not feeling right, or you have high blood pressure after you have your child, or you're still bleeding or having headaches, swelling, whatever, do not let them discharge you from the hospital. You cause a ruckus and you do what you got to do for your health. I don't know why. I just felt that I needed to say that, because I feel like that's part of women's history too. That's part of our history as Black women. Doctors not taking as good a care of us after we have children. So yes, please do that. Please take care of yourself.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because my birth story could have been so much worse than what it was. Cliff and I'll share, you know, the intricacies of it one day, but I could have really been in way worse shape than I was. My OB, Dr. Cheryl Zimmerman, and my endocrinologist, Dr. Curlis Patterson, they saved my life. They worked together to make sure that Alonzo got here safely, and to make sure that the three of us, me, him, and Alonzo, me, Cliff, and Alonzo, were able to leave out of that hospital. And I couldn't thank them enough. With the preeclampsia, it sneaks up on you, because you think your swelling is because you eating everything. Because I thought that's what mine was, because I had me a good old time. I ate everything. Anything I felt like eating, I ate. And I'm thinking, okay, well, you know, that's what's going on. But the day before Alonzo was born, I went to the doctor, to Dr. Patterson's appointment, and because she was monitoring me for hyperthyroidism, and as well as being of what they call advanced maternal age. Anything over 35, they call it advanced maternal age. So I went that day, and I had to be wheeled upstairs in a in a wheelchair, because when I went to go make the payment, the lady was like, are you okay? Because I couldn't get up from the chair. So she actually had to wheel me upstairs for my appointment. My blood pressure was sky high. So they ended up relaying this information to Dr. Patterson, because I was seeing her via telehealth. And she said she had never gotten off a call to go talk to Dr. Zimmerman during any of our appointments. She said, hold on. She said, I don't like this. I don't like that you're not able to breathe very well. I don't like your the weight. Your weight is going up really high, and your blood pressure, it was like 163 over something. And she got off the call. Got off the call with me, went and talked to Dr. Zimmerman, and they both decided that I needed to go to the hospital to be evaluated. I got sick in the hospital that night. If I had gone home, I would have gotten sick, and I just would have thought, well, I'm just sick, and I could have had a stroke, a heart attack, or a seizure from preeclampsia. And they went from, like I said, saying, okay, we're going to have him, you know, because he was getting really big, and they were saying, okay, well, we're going to induce you a week before. Okay, no, we're going to keep you through the weekend. And then it turned into him being born the next day. So it is very important to have doctors that pay attention to things. And I trusted them, because they both were paying attention to things, and they were working together as well. So I thank Jessica for bringing that up. That was a very important point, because being a Black woman as well, I was nervous about how things were going to go. But once I got in with Dr. Zimmerman and Dr. Patterson, I felt so much better. And the team at the hospital, oh my God, they did such a wonderful job. And it was a sisterhood thing. You know, it was like, I know what you're going through. It wasn't like, well, you wanted to be here, you wanted to be pregnant. You know, nobody said anything like that to me. It was just, we're going to get this baby here healthy, and we're going to make sure that you're healthy too. It's not just about the baby, it's about you too. So yeah, that was important. So does anybody else, either one of you, have anything else you want to say? Because I know this was we talked about a lot of things, and these were things that were very necessary and very important. Do you have questions coming to me? What's one thing that you wish all women either knew or did that you think would make their whole entire life more fruitful? Was one, or one or two things that you think you wish every woman was just born with the ability to do or feel a certain way about herself?
Well,
I'm
uh,
just go ahead, Jess.
go ahead. I can wait. Go ahead.
So I just want to sum it up. Knowing their worth and their value.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Know that you're worthy, because that takes care of everything else.
So many of our beautiful women always struggle with knowing their worth and their value, so they settle. And so I'm gonna just let y'all take it from there, because yeah, that's a given. I see it so much. So yeah, if I can just build and have them birth and say, God, make sure, because God birthed us. Yes. I want us to see ourselves how God sees us. And yes, God created us with value and worth. So if I can pray to God and say, God, let them know and see it, and not water themselves down with worth and value, just do it like that, God. That's the one for me.
Yeah, that was my answer too. I think I was on doing a show with Triumphant Tuesdays with Andrea, our other sister, and we talked about shame, just kind of I think that if we always walk in an upright position, I talked about, what are you clothed in daily? What do you choose to clothe yourself in? And so just that worth piece. I remember working at Rivendell, it's a behavioral health hospital. I talked to one of the girls. She was actually a mom. She was a very young mom. And I was like, you're worth it to do better, and just knowing that, and you showing your child that she's going to come along too. And so I told her also that knowing your worth, if you know how worthy you are, you will never accept anything else less than that. So I said, that's the most powerful thing that you can ever have and know about yourself, is what you're worth. But dispelling that shame of what the world puts on us, or what you inherit from your family, whatever, I think if we can dispel those two things and understand what we're worth, and that we have a choice to clothe ourselves in victory and in worth and in love, that when we wake up daily, all we have to choose is what we put on. That's all we have to do. Yeah, all you have to do is just choose and walk it out from there. Put some oil on it and walk it out.
Yes, that part. Ooh, I love both of those answers. I guess mine's like a two-part answer, and it kind of flows into what the two of you have already said. The ability to say no and unapologetically say no. Because women are taught to say certain things, but say it in a way that, it's not too, no, it's like, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to go there. And it doesn't have to be any neck rolling going on. It doesn't have to be any finger waving. It's just like, no. And no is a complete sentence. We got to stop. Women are taught that, but why? Because I said so. That there doesn't have to be any extra commentary for the no, especially when it comes to relationships. I have been, Jesus. I'm sure y'all can relate, been cussed out because I said no to a guy. Threatened, followed, harassed, stalked, all those different things because of a no. And we all have heard those stories of women that have been killed because they said no. either to a sexual advance, a date, giving out their phone number. And it's like we have to really set the example for these younger women out here that saying no is not a crime. You know, just because, well, you owe me a chance. You owe me no, I don't owe you anything but my answer. And my answer, sir, is no. You know, and be confident in that, and understand that if they have a problem with you saying no, that says more about them than it does about you. And like y'all said, knowing who you are, knowing your value, and the ability to understand that you are worth knowing who you are. You are worth rising above whatever comes your way. And the other thing that I would add is the ability to never, and the desire to never want to compete. Women are constantly pitted against each other. Like, men are taught, you know, to be competitive for more so for, you know, careers and different things like that. But women on the baseline are taught to be competitive for a man's attention. And it's like, no, if you're already looking at somebody else, don't even look over here. Because if you're focused on me, focus on me. But if you're focused on me and somebody else, focus on them. Just go over there, be over there. Even as early as elementary school, girls are taught to be pitted against each other. And, oh, I like this guy, so, you know, I got to, you know, pay attention, or have this guy pay attention to me by doing this and doing that. And it's like, there should be no competition amongst us. There should be only camaraderie and sisterhood. And this is why shows like The Godly View are so important, because so much of society says, you know, and then there's this thing of, oh, well, there's however many women to one man. And your point being, I still am not sharing my man with anybody, you know. So you either have the competition, or you got the sister wife type chicks that are just like, well, you know, I ain't sharing Cliff with nobody. Okay, nobody. He is mine. But he also has never made me feel like I had to compete with another woman for his attention. So not competing, but coming together and saying, you do that well and I do this well, let's collaborate. All of the women of The Godly View are talented, strong women, anointed women. We all do our own thing. Some of us do some of the same things, but nobody can do it like Daisy. Nobody can do it like Jessica. Nobody can do it like Janie. Nobody can do it like Andrea. Nobody can do it like Persephone, because it's what God placed inside of each of us. And even if we do the same thing, we all do it different ways. Because you'll see different ones of us, you'll see us take turns leading discussions, and we do it in different ways. That's the beauty of it. And thank God for James for having this concept for this show, because it's so important. This is not just a show. This is not just a live. This is a family, and this is a ministry. And I just pray that God continues to bless us to be in places where we can show young women that this is how we should be. This is how we should do it. And I just thank God for what's going on. I'm just, you know, I feel like I'm at the Cheesecake Factory. I'm just like, all the lovely cheesecake. It's just,
So I have a question to everybody. With it being Women's History Month, what is the legacy or the history that you want to be known for when you are no longer here? What is it that you want people to remember you for, or about you, to have your stamp on history?
I'll go first. I would have to say my serving heart. I'm just always trying to help and serve in the community, and always talking about God and how He delivered me and how He transformed my life and my walk to where I could have lost my life. So I want to be known, and I want to leave an impact to know that you are worthy. Your life has purpose. Um, and just always giving with a heart of joy, a heart of love. And that's what I believe I probably would be um, left at in history, that I'm always serving in the community and finding ways. Like I'm always calling Salvation Army or Publix or somebody. Um, y'all serving food today. If I can't get out there and do it by myself, may as well join a community and get involved. And so that's what I'm always doing because God has led me. I believe that is my purpose. God has led me into that direction. So I'm going to fully walk that through with the most selfless being. Even when I'm on my last breath or on my last, I'm going to continue to do that. So I believe that would be the one for me.
Amen. Amen. That's beautiful. And you're doing a great job of that, laying that foundation. I think the thing that I want to be most remembered for is being a never quitter. Life has sucker punched me quite a few times. Things that just happened to me because it was meant to happen, and things that happened to me because of my bad decisions. I've had my fair share of both. Y'all know I'm quick to tell when I'm wrong, when I've done something silly and got myself in trouble. Being a never quitter is not a glamorous job. It's something that you're called to. You don't run to. Wanting things to be easier, like I was talking about earlier, the ability to let go, truly let go and let God. There has to be a lot of never quit in you to get to that point. And, someone that I grew up without a father. I have been sexually, physically, emotionally abused throughout my childhood. They had different things happen to me, even in adulthood, was in abusive relationships, went through a bad marriage, was divorced, went through financial struggles, been homeless twice, and living in my car. There was just ways that the Lord has brought me through that. I'm like, how can people, I want people to hear my story and in the depths of their soul, never be able to deny God's presence, because there is no way I would have gotten through what I went through without God, period. And I want people to always look at different parts of my story and to be able to pick out something for them. I highly identify with Hannah from the Bible, and not only because of her fertility struggles, but just how she just had to stand in the face of the enemy. The enemy laughed at her barrenness, and she still showed up. Even with tears in her eyes, she still showed up. Even when she didn't want to be there, she showed up. And she continued to pray. And what she prayed for, she was willing to give right back to God. And God honored her because of her sacrifice. So that's something that I want to leave a legacy of: never quit. No matter how much the enemy laughs in your face, never quit.
I love that. Those were both beautiful. Both of you, are walking it out. So I'm very sure that those legacies will no doubt be left. If I had to answer that question, mine would be that I planted seeds, even though I may not always get to see them be fully grown, but hopefully I would planted a seed. And then tenacity, because sometimes, I think that even though I may seem timid at first, but I hope people remember my tenacity to go after what I plan for, or to help somebody go after what they plan for. So just the tenacity of moving forward.
I love it. I love it. Like this. Whoo,
Linda, Pastor, that was so beautiful. Both of y'all, y'all rock. I missed y'all. Did I tell you? Did I say that before?
Well, we
But
miss
We missed
you
you
too.
too.
It's never complete without Daisy on the scene. Okay,
y'all just know how to make a
it's
sister feel all
true.
special and
Yeah,
stuff like
we
that.
know this when you're not here. We know this when
Oh
you're not
yes,
here because
yes.
you bring another element.
Oh,
Yes.
I appreciate that so much. But what stuck out, I know we over time, but it just, I can't not speak on this. When you said, Pastor, that you were living out of your car, because like I said, something in my heart goes out to homeless and poor people and people in poverty. It really does something to my heart. And God knows that because he created me. And so he leads me to feed these people. And so to hear that, that broke my heart. Like that really broke my heart. I couldn't even hear anything else after that because I could just feel it, you know? And we may not have the time now. And when you're comfortable, I would love to hear your testimony of that. Yeah.
I would love to share that. Yeah, because it was, and it's crazy because I actually had a couple of people come to me when they were getting ready to be homeless and ask me for tips on what I
Mm,
did. And
right.
I got like a whole like system that I did. Like I'll be more than willing to share, when the time comes. I had like a whole system. Oh,
If,
oh,
yeah,
okay.
I mean, if y'all
Listen,
open,
the producer giving us the green light. Okay, so the system that I came up with, and mind you, of course, it was much easier because I had a vehicle. So what happened was my grandmother, shout out to Nana, she actually paid for my storage unit, and I had the bulkier things in the storage unit. That way, I didn't have to have a lot of stuff weighing my car down because child, my tires were not in great condition. I was not trying to weigh my tires down with unnecessary stuff. Well, as especially that second time. Now, the first time I was only living in my car for I think it was 6 days. And I had a system where I went to the Walmart parking lot and I parked, and it was crazy because I still remember that tree that I parked under. And it was like God was showing me the tree to park under. And it was crazy because there was a light right above the tree, but once you were under the tree, you were like clothed in darkness, and you were like, it was like God like covered me. And it was crazy because it wasn't too close to the store where I would draw attention, but it wasn't too far where I didn't feel safe. It was right in the middle. And I slept so peacefully in that car because I had my peace, and I didn't want a lot of people to know that I was living in my car because I was like, the Lord's going to take care of me. I just knew that God was going to take care of me. And I had my way of, like covering the windows and everything to make sure that nobody could see inside. And I remember they were doing construction at the time. And of course they were doing it at night. But I still slept peacefully. I slept right through the construction noise because I had so much peace in my heart and I was not afraid. And I went to Nana's to take my showers, and I drove around during the day, and was I doing DoorDash at the time? I think I had started doing DoorDash at the time. And then I had like a few retail auditing jobs that I would do throughout the day. And around 9 or 10 o'clock at night, I would park in the parking lot. And then I would, get up the next morning and just do it all over again. Now, the second time was very interesting because that was more like 3 weeks. And again, shout out to Nana. Nana paid for my storage unit again. and and again, I was like, I'll be fine. I'm okay. Everything is fine. Um, I ended up getting a Planet Fitness membership this time. So I got the one that was like 20 something dollars a month where you can go in and take a shower, and you have the massage table and everything. Because I was in the car, because I have very long legs, I would exercise my legs in the gym. I would go walk on the treadmill for like 15 minutes and then go take a shower, wash my hair, do all that stuff, and then come back out. And nobody was the wiser. They just thought I was coming in to exercise. I didn't feel homeless. That's the thing. I had ways that I had to do things, but I didn't feel, and shout out to Tamel Brown, Elder Tamel Brown, SSNK. He actually arranged financial help for me. And that particular time, I remember it was like 4 or 5 mornings in a row. I woke up to Cash App sounds. And God just allowed people to help me out. I had no options. I had no, no suitable options. And the only option that I had at the time was my car, but that was my peace. That 2002 Ford Taurus with the bad tires and the jacked up transmission was my peace. And let me tell you something else. This was right before I started getting the cash apps from the singles group. The big red bus showed up in the Walmart parking lot where they were giving out like $10 gift cards for donating blood. So I said, one thing, go donate some blood, give me a little $10. Let me go. So I went and did that. And then I went into Walmart and I ended up finding a sleeping bag that was on sale for $17. And I was so glad to find that sleeping bag because it was about to be 40 degrees outside. God allowed me to find that sleeping bag that I still have, by the way. Because let me tell you about y'all brother. Cliff is a polar bear. He likes to have it cold in here. And of course, babies run hot. So I'm the lone woman out. I'm always cold. So I said, you know what? I forgot. I have a sleeping bag. Let me get the sleeping bag. And I slept in the sleeping bag in the bed. And I was like, this is a full circle moment. I went from sleeping in the sleeping bag because I had to sleeping in the sleeping bag because I want to. Look at God. I
But
had no
also in a
idea.
bed.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
So like 3 years later, I go from being homeless, living in my car, very little money, to now being married with our beautiful new son and all the possibility in the world. God is, whew.
And I hope this doesn't come out the wrong way, because I know sometimes people could take it the wrong way. But it's funny because I think it sounds like God always strips you of pretty much almost everything sometimes, so He can upgrade you how He wants to. He can bless you with everything He wants to bless you with. So it's funny because I have come across a lot of kingdom people who have recently lost everything or a good amount of things. Mm-hmm. And one of the girls that Jalissa Glover, Rev's cousin, had a Purpose and Pain event, and one of the women on the panel, she had just lost everything. And Daisy, you're one of the first people I thought of. I was like, He's about to bless them tremendously. Because that's all I can think of is like, don't weep because you lost. Rejoice because of what's coming. Because He's about to fill you more, pressed down, shaken together, running over.
Hey.
Right? You already been pressed. You might be down, but you're about to be running over.
Yes.
It's funny because as I was in the season where God started stripping me, I would pray and I would say, God, what did I do that was so wrong where I feel so low and I'm losing everything? And I prayed my way, I tried to pray my way out of it and ask Him, God, make it stop. I'm sorry. Help me, God, help me out of this. And God said to me, it's a part of the process. I'm not going to take you out just yet, but I will sustain you and keep you and watch over you in this pruning process. he spoke to me so much to where when it first started, my spirit was so, there was just days I felt I didn't want to get out the bed. And when I laid in the bed and I thought about my house that I just lost, I thought about all my full house of furniture that he instructed me to donate and give to people that needed it. And I'm like, I need it. And he instructs me to give away and donate all my clothes. I literally only have 2 suitcases. And I didn't question it. And I said, okay, I will trust you, Lord. But as the days go by and the weeks went by and the months went by, I said, God, why did I do all of that? And I'm down to nothing. Emptied out my bank account and everything. I thought he was trying to punish me. But I now realize that he was trying to do a new thing in me and telling me and wanting me and teaching me to let go, to completely let go of control. Because my way was I was either going to end up dead or selling my soul to these earthy things, to the earth, to just doing wrong, the path I was going down. And he saved me. Ultimately, I found peace in him leading me to the scriptures day and night as I opened my Bible. And that's how he got me through. I opened the Bible, not to open it for myself, but each time I opened up the Bible, he led me to what he was trying to say to me. And every time he would bring me to, whether it be Psalms, whether it be Matthew, whether it was Hebrews, every scripture along those books, it will always point me to, I delivered you out of the hands of the wicked. Every scripture. And I was so blinded by the things I was doing and the people I was around. And that's why that song, Tasha Cobbs, it spoke to me so much. It's a newer song. It's called He Waited on Me, literally because he watched over me as I was out there doing my own way. And when he took me and he said, I've watched you do it your way. Now it's my time. It's my time. It's now time for you to do it my way. And then that's when the shedding started. He had to clean me out. And I surrendered, I said, all right, God, your way. When I fully surrendered, be careful when you surrender. I'm not saying be fearful. Don't be fearful. But when you surrender, because he's not going to force you, he will save you. But once you fully surrender, be ready for some things to tear upside down. Okay? Be ready for your whole life to be turned upside down to where you don't have control. And you can't call the people you used to call because there's no way for you to contact them. No way. He will distance you so much that you cry on your knees to him because he wants to do it in you, that you fully understand that you don't go back into a cycle of what you were doing before. And so I want to ask a question real quick to Pastor. I know you mentioned that your grandma was somewhat active in that time. Was it God's instruction that he gave you to not go and live with her and to do it this way? Because I know he will tell you sometimes, don't do that, or, so I want to know that.
Actually, it was funny because the place that she's at a community where it's a certain age and up, right? And she's not allowed to have anybody live with her. She can have somebody stay for a certain amount of days. That part was a part that I was instructed not to do.
Okay.
Because it felt like the closer I would have been to her, the more she would have worried about me. Mm-hmm. So it was almost like God was saying, keep in touch, but keep your distance. Because he knows that my grandmother worries a lot. Not as much anymore about me. But I was always knitted closely to her heart. She raised me like I was her own child. My mother, grandmother, and I were in the house together. And it was almost like, yeah, let her know you're okay, but don't let her be aware of every single thing, because that's going to be another thing on her list that she's going to worry about, And she helped me so much, not just financially, but just allowing me a safe place to land when I needed to vent, because she knows that God will tell me things and I'll be like, I don't understand that. I don't understand why you're having me do this. And then it works out. There's never been anything that God has told me to do or not to do that hasn't worked out for my good. Never, ever. Never, ever. There have been times where God's told me to do something and I didn't do it the way that he told me to do it and it didn't work out. Or he told me not to do something and I did it anyway and it didn't work out. But never the combination of him telling me to do something and it not working out. So if God tells you to do something and it doesn't work out, i.e., there's you know when it's pushback from the enemy because you're doing what God called you to do, and you know when it's consequences. You know the difference between the pushback and the consequences. And at that point, I was frankly still experiencing consequences from marrying somebody that I shouldn't have married. That's a whole nother subject right there. Because I lowered my standards and I was trying to beat the clock. And I was like, hey, I'm about to be 30. God was hey, yeah, I got married the first time when I was 29 and a half. And listen, a lot of times people want to talk about their exes and say the ex did this and did that. And yeah, that's true, but I allowed it. I was a willing participant in the majority of the mistreatment that I have suffered. What was not done in secret, what was done in my face that I allowed, because I felt like, well, at least it's not this, or at least it's not that. And another thing, ladies, let's stop saying at least. Well, at least he does this, and at least he does that, and at least he's that. What did God say? Did God say? Because God will show you. I saw the signs. I just chose to ignore them. And it's hard to admit that because I love the Lord. And I want to do what God tells me to do. Not only because I know that there is a spotlight on everybody that has a relationship with Christ. The world is watching you, whether you feel like it or not. The world is watching you. I never want somebody to look at my life and be like, her life ain't no better with Christ. What I need it for, So there's that responsibility there. I allowed certain things to happen and I was suffering some of the consequences, but God did lead me in how to do certain things. So if she had her own house and stuff, I would have been lived with her. But how much of an emotional and spiritual burden would that have added to her life? I'm always thinking about that. There's certain things that I deal with that I don't share with her, not because I'm keeping anything from her, but because God has to be my first confidant. I don't ever want to share something with somebody and it bog them down, So God will give you ways to share certain things. But I couldn't keep it from her totally, but I just let her know, Nana, I'm okay. And as long as I said, Nana, I'm okay. She could even hear it over the phone. Nana. Okay, Persephone. Okay, I'm okay. Don't you worry about me now. So, yeah, that's what it was.
Whew. Yes, Lord.
It's heavy.
That blessed me a lot. That really did. I don't think you would really understand how that blessed me on tonight. I think it was really God that allowed you to speak on that, because I think that was kind of off topic a little bit. No, but you not saying it doesn't. It really came at a perfect time. It really did, and I think that's why God gave me the open. Because he already knows what we're going to say. He knows how the show is going to turn out. And I was telling James, because James was like, are you going to, wait till the next season and so forth? I said, God gave me the okay to do the show. And I think it was for a reason. And I needed that. I'm doing a lot better. But the reason why that stuck out to me is because I think God is in transition of doing something else. And So I may be in contact with you later on, like down the line a little bit.
You know, my inbox is always open. Yeah.
But yeah, what stuck out is that, he wants you to run to him. And I try to explain to my mom, my parents, where I'm staying at right now, especially my mom, because she's always been like, she wants to just come and save me. And God has really instructed me in this time that, no, you don't share everything. Let me deal with it. And she doesn't really understand that. She thinks I'm holding back a lot and I'm not sharing a lot with her. And she calls me being secretive. And because they're not in the walk with Christ as I am, he also instructed me that they won't fully understand. And so he has kept me grounded in, my parents' home. This kind of brings me in a story of, not saying they're sinners or anything like that, but their walk and my walk is totally different. It's totally different. How Jesus was amongst non-believers and sinners and prostitutes and so forth. Just to kind of, sum it up but it came to a point where I wanted to escape. And I know he wanted me to stay to teach me for what's to come, when the clutter and when it may not look like for where he's sending me, what I'm familiar with, because I'm not always going to be amongst believers, where he's sending me to go bring souls back to him. I may have to relate to them and stay within alignment of his guidelines and his righteousness and represent him and speak as he leads me to. But I know now, because like you said, Pastor, I've given it to him, and the level of peace that I have, where nothing can shake me, to where I scare myself. I'm like really nonchalant. If it gets to a friction point, I totally remove myself, whether it be coming upstairs and reading my scriptures and praying to God. But I feel like now, because I get it, and he takes you and deals with you in levels and course, I feel like he's getting ready to transition me. So that's why I had to ask about that car situation. Because I don't listen, when you rolling with God, you just gotta pick up your cross. Like it says in the Bible, pick up your cross daily and follow Jesus.
Gotta be ready. Gotta be ready.
What is coming? When you fully walking with Christ and you says, God, use me as a vessel, I am your sheep. Oh, he gonna use you. Pick up that cross.
And that's why people don't want to do it.
Sacrifice much. Okay, and if it, like Pastor said, if it means you gotta sleep in that car, and he be like, and don't call your parents. You gotta do it, because guess what? He's your father, and he's your parent. Okay? And they come after. And though in the scripture it says, honor your mother and your father, yes, with the most upright respect, don't disrespect them. But there's certain things he's going to tell you, no, that's not what they're for. That's what I'm for. So, yeah, we had a whole therapy session, y'all. I'm sorry.
No, this is what this is. We don't know when we go live, we don't know what it's going to be. Okay. We have had, and just to give our viewers some insight, we've had times where we've planned to have certain people on and there's technical difficulties, or we have them on or want to have them on a certain date and they can't be on that particular date. And God leads. And this is what happens, and this is what's needed. And we don't know who might be listening, either right now or in the future. Somebody might come across this live a year from now and be like, oh my God, this is what I needed. Because we're willing to open ourselves up, this is how God can move, and this is how God can use. Now, if we were like, well, we got to stick to the schedule. Daisy, we got to stick to the schedule. Jessica, girl, we got to stick to the schedule. This is why this happens the way it happens. And shout out to our sisters Andrea and Janine. We this is what we do. This is what we do. So God had his way. And I know our producer is waiting in the wings to like, hey, he gives us the go ahead, like 10 more minutes. 30, 20 more minutes. Go, just go. And we thank you, James, for that. And he also has to hear from God too, to know when it's a God move, and to be like, keep going, keep going. So when you see us looking at our screens, it's because the producer sending us messages like, y'all keep going, keep going. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful feeling to be used by God. It really is. So y'all have any closing remarks, anything that, because I know our producer just showed up. What's up, boy? I mean, I'm sorry. What's up, Reverend? Hey.
Man, y'all, all I gotta say is one of the things that I love about this show. I love all the shows that I do. I love PRL, We'll Talk Monday. I love all of them. But one of the things that I love about this show right here is the fact that we are not scared to be vulnerable. We're not scared to open up. We are not scared to let God have his way. Like at any given moment, we ain't got to stick to the schedule. When Daisy said maybe one day you can discuss it, I immediately sat in the group chat. I immediately sat in the background. If she's ready, let's say it now. Let's talk about it now. Let's go. Because
Right
my
now.
thing is, there's somebody that is watching us tonight that needed to hear this message. Yes, Daisy saying it was me. It was me. And randomly tonight, I got a text as y'all sifted and as y'all went into ministry mode, as y'all are known to do. I received a text tonight from someone that is watching that let me know, wow. That's all they said was, wow. They're like, this is what it's about.
Pastor Curry.
They're like, this is what it's about. This is what it is about right here is ministry. And there's a reason why this show is on year number 2 and is doing the things that they are doing. Get ready, you all. There's some great things that are coming in the forefront. We have some amazing things coming. Tonight we'll go on and announce it that starting next season, you all get ready. If you watched year number 2's anniversary show, you heard a little joke being made about the Godly View Show brothers. But, however, I am happy to tell y'all that next season, starting in May, the Godly View Show brothers is no longer a joking matter. They are coming out in April. In May of next year, they will have their own episode as well as Beyond with the Sisters. The panel on that show will be Pastor Gregory Devine. We also have Mr. AB on there as well, and yours truly will be on that panel as well. And our sister, Miss Janine Lamb, is our executive producer of that show. So we are excited about what God is doing in the forefront of that. So y'all get ready. More great things are coming. Please, ma'am, please, sir, listen to the podcast. It will be dropped at 10 a.m. tomorrow, as well as not next week, but week after next. Please tune in. We have another amazing episode planned for you all. We will continue celebrating Women's History Month. And I do promise you that the young lady that we have coming on that episode, when I tell you her testimony and her story, is going to be powerful and it's going to help you. I promise you it will. So you don't want to miss that. So as I always say, as I close out before I turn it over to our sisters, sometimes our disappointments are nothing more than God's appointments. Meaning, some things that we're looking at is bad. God is only turning it around for our good. Stay blessed, be blessed, and be a blessing to someone else. And we see our sister Andrea in the comments. Hey sis, we love you.
Hey,
We love you, sis. We missed you tonight, and we will see y'all week after next. God bless. Love y'all.